Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, so let me write the date first. This is 10th October and it is a Sunday. Please write the topic. The topic is features of modern periodic table. Now, write the first feature. Write this with me, okay? It is based on more fundamental property, that is atomic number. Write the second point. It correlates the position of element with what? With the electronic configuration, right? We have seen that with the electronic configuration. Now, write the third point. The completion of each period is with noble gases which has fully filled energy shells. This is more logical, right? Now, in the first period, what happens? In the first period, the first shell is finished, completely filled. In the second period, what happens? The second period is eventually, like with atomic numbers, increasing atomic numbers, it is completely filled. Then the third, then the fourth, and so on, okay? Now, we have also seen that this table has separated the metals and non-metals for that. And the fifth one, in this table, there is a gradual change in properties of elements. There is a gradual change in properties of element with increase in atomic number. With the sixth point, which is most important, the arrangement of atoms, this arrangement of atoms. Is easy to remember. Let me write comparatively easy to remember. Is comparatively. And to reproduce. That means you can remember it and you can reproduce it also. Okay. So please write this. Let me know if you are done. Zan Hibardan. Waiting for Khalid and Salman. Raise your hand when you are done.
Sir, done.
Done. Okay. What about Salman?
Done, sir.
Okay. After that, after this, write a few defects or what we can say is limitations. Okay. We cannot write disadvantages, but rather these are the limitations of. Modern periodic table. We also say a modern periodic table as the long form of periodic table. Okay. And this, the first defect or limitation is the position of hydrogen. Position of hydrogen is not fixed, right? Even though we have learned it with the group 1 element, but hydrogen can also be placed above the halogens, above fluorine, because it needs only one electron as fluorine, bromine, iodine to fill its shell, right? Fluorine, what is the atomic number of fluorine? It is 9. So 9, that means 1s2, 2s2, 2p, 5, correct? Now, how many electron does fluorine needs to complete its shell? It needs only one electron. Similarly, hydrogen is also what? 1s1. Now, if it is also 1s1, then what does it mean? It means that it also needs only one electron to fill its shell. That is why it can be also placed above fluorine, and it can be also placed above the group 1 elements. Now, that is why the position of hydrogen is not fixed. It can be placed on group 1 elements and also above group 17 elements. Okay, that is why the position of hydrogen is not fixed. Secondly, the position of lanthanides and actinides. Position of lanthanides, and actinides. Okay, We have also seen that it does not have any individual place, right? They are in the bottom of the periodic table. Okay, they are bottom of the periodic table. Third is that this table does not reflect the exact distribution of electrons among all orbitals. That means here they are saying about the chromium, copper, and those exceptional electronic configuration. Na? So this table does not reflect the exact distribution of electrons among the orbitals. It means that in how many electrons are present in which orbitals. It does not tell you about that among orbitals of atoms. Elements.
Sir,
Let me know if you're done. Only? Yeah, only these three.
Okay, sir, done.
What about others?
Yes, sir, done.
Done? Okay. So I will give you a question, okay? Let's try this. Determine the name and symbol of atoms with following atomic number. Okay, with following atomic number. So I will do the first one for you. Let us say the atomic number is 38. Okay, atomic number is 38. So first of all, what you will do, you will write the electronic configuration. So what will be the electronic configuration of the atom whose atomic number is 38? First of all, tell me, Hamza, which noble gas is nearest before 38? Yes, Hamza, before 38. Krypton. What is the atomic number for krypton?
Sir, 36.
36, right? So we have to fill how many more electrons? 2 more electrons?
Yes, sir, 2 more electrons.
And krypton is noble gas number what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Sir, 4.
4, na? So we'll start with 5. We'll write
Yes,
5s.
sir.
And then we will fill 2.
2.
Correct?
Yes,
now,
sir.
When you have written the electronic configuration, you can tell me the period also, the block also, and the group also, right? So what will be the period number? What will be the period number?
Sir, 5.
5, fifth period. What will be the block?
Sir,
In which
S block?
Yeah, very S block. What will be the group number?
Sir, group 5.
Group
no,
5?
Wait. No, sir, wait. Group 2.
Group 2. Second group. So now you have to tell me what is the mnemonic for second group? Be, Mag, Ka, Sir, Ba, Hada, right? Now you also remember that here it is Li and here it is hydrogen. Now Be, this start from second period, okay? This start from second period. So this is second period, this is third period, this is fourth period, this is the fifth period. Correct? This
Yes,
is the fifth period. So what will be the element? Strontium. So the element is strontium with the sign Sr. Okay, just tell me, should I repeat this with another example? Heba, Salman, Khalid.
Again, the element. How did you get the
The-
element again?
Okay, how did I get the element again? See, okay, the element will be something from these, right? Because it is in group 2. It would be
Yes,
one
sir.
of these elements, right? Okay, that much you understand. Now, that element is also lying in the 5th period, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, in 2nd period, from group 2 is beryllium. In 3rd period, it is Mg. In the 4th period, in group 2 is calcium. And in the 5th period of group 2 is the strontium. So the element will be
Oh,
strontium. Got
oh,
it?
okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you have to please remember, just remember that the periodic table is something like this: hydrogen, helium, then you have lithium, Linak, Rab, plus Far. Then you have Be Makka, Sir, Bara. So this in first period you just have 2 elements. Okay, everything whatever you have learned, Be Makka, Sir, Bara, Bagan, Alu, Gajar in Thala, Ana Patekar, Aishwarya Sab Bimar, Kaisi Geet Sunaao Prabhu, He Niya Zare Karo Zara Sangeen. All these starts from the 2nd period. Okay. Then you will have the D block elements here. I won't write the D block elements. Obviously, okay, you have to also remember where the D block is starting. D block is obviously, it will start from where? 4s, na? It starts from here.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
calcium. Here is the D block. Okay, this is the D block. And then let me make one more line here. This is the D block. And then you have Bagan, then Aloo Gajar. Let me write this Bagan a bit below. Bagan, Aloo, Gajar. Okay, in Thala. Bagan, Aloo, okay, calcium, should be a bit above. Let me just place it a bit above. After calcium, yeah. This aluminium will be a bit above here. This gallium will be after aluminium here. This indium will be as with strontium in Thala. Then it is recording here in Thala. Okay. So please remember that we have, this is the first period. This is the 2nd period. This is the 3rd period. Okay. Now I will give you a few questions. Try it out. Did you write this one? The first one, did you write it?
Yes, sir.
What about others? Khalid, Salman?
Wait a second, sir.
Yes, sir. Done.
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay, great. All right. B part, 34. C part, 27. D part, 55. Do these 3. If you don't remember the elements name, that is fine. But at least symbol you should remember, right? Because we have memorized the symbol from the mnemonics. Let me know if you get stuck. 5 minutes, okay? You have 5 minutes. For 3 questions, 5 minutes is enough. Okay, no one. Are you guys stuck? Hamza, Hiba, Khalid, Salman.
Sir, how to find the element?
Okay, did you find the period, block, and the group?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you have found the group, then can you write what is that group? The mnemonic of that group? Can you write that?
Yes, sir.
Like I have written here, Bemakka Sarbara, because it was second period. Yes, Hiba. Now you will assign the first element that you have to the second period. Then third, then fourth, then fifth, then sixth, so on. Okay, let us do for 34. So 34, it will have the electronic configuration. The nearest is argon, right? Nearest is argon, na? 18.
Yes, sir.
And argon is third, so this will be 4s2, 3d10, and then we need 4 more, right? 4p4. So the period, then the block, then the group. So the period is fourth period. The block is p block, and the group is 10 plus 6, 16. So 16 group is us se tepo. Us se tepo. Now this is the group 16. This is the second period. This is the third period. This is the fourth period. So selenium. Or SC. Yes, Hamza, Hiba, Salman, what happened? You are having a difficulty in remembering that this is the 16th period? Yes, guys?
No, sir.
Then you determined, Hamza?
Sir, I determined first. Then I thought that like I counted from 1, 2, 3, and I got selenium, and I was confused
no.
with that.
No, that is what I am saying.
No, I was confused with this one. Block.
Block. Okay, now please see your notes now. How to determine the block and read the statement, Salman.
No, like
Yesterday
I got wrong block. I mentioned D.
No. You see, you read now. What is how do you determine the block? Tell me.
No, like I by mistake we put D instead of P. I was confused. Yeah.
No.
Clear.
Why you were confused? Tell me. How do we determine the block? What do we see in the electronic configuration? What do we see in the electronic configuration to determine the block?
Like the last thing.
What last? The last subshell in which the electron is going, right? The
Yeah,
last electron is going in which subshell? Please look at that. Yeah. Okay. So moving on to 27. Did anyone determine 27? Yes, anyone?
Sir, I actually have doubt in question 20, the 27 one.
Okay. Did you determine the period, block, and group?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What is the period?
Period is 4.
Fourth period. What is the block?
Block is D block.
B block. What is the group?
77.
Seventh group.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have the fourth period na, and the D. So if it is the fourth period, then it will have 4s2 and 3d something, right? 4s2, 3d something,
Yes, sir.
3d7. So this is 3d series. So see 3d series, you have what? Sakti, Vikraman, Feko, Nikuzan. So Sakti, it starts now. Before Sakti, you have calcium, that is 20. This is 21, 22, 23, 24. Now, if you have the 3D series, now just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This number 7. You will get cobalt. This is CO for cobalt. So see, this number and this number is same. 4s2. All this will be 21, 22, and this zinc will be just 30. Okay, zinc is just 30. Okay, what about 55? Anyone? Period, block, and group? Which period?
6.
6. Okay. Block?
S block.
S block. And group?
1.
First group. So first group you have hydrogen, Lena Krupp-Kasper. Okay. Now hydrogen is obviously, you remember that it is the first period, second period, third period, fourth period, fifth period, and we have to stop at where? Sixth period. So this is CS for cesium. Okay. So this is how you determine which element has what atomic number. If you know the atomic number, now for most of the elements, maybe some D block elements and obviously some F block elements you cannot determine. But for most of the elements, you can determine it now. Okay. Now, can I move on? Yes, guys, tell me, can I move on or you want to write?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have to write. Why do you guys don't speak? अरे जल्दी जल्दी बताइए आप लोग. Hamza, Hiba, what happened?
सर हो गया. Next.
हाँ आपका तो हो गया. What about Hamza? Hiba. Should I scroll up, scroll down? Hamza, Hiba are not speaking anything. I hope I'm audible to them. Okay.
Yes, sir, you are audible. I was just a bit confused with something.
Now what? Okay, are you okay? Is your confusion clear?
Not yet, sir. Just let me have a look at it.
Yeah, sure. Maybe you can, if
Sir,
you
the
can tell
group
me what.
should be 2, right, in the last one.
Okay, let us see.
Oh,
So,
no, yeah, it is right. It is right. Okay, got it.
Right? Got it? Okay. So should we move? What about Hiba? You understood how to calculate, how to determine the atomic, how to determine the element from the atomic number, Hiba?
Yes, sir.
Chaliye, great. All right, periodicity and properties. Periodicity and properties. Okay. Now, can somebody tell me what does periodicity mean? No one? Okay. Okay. Can somebody tell me what I have made?
Sir, pendulum.
Pendulum. Okay. Is there any word that you can remember from pendulum? In pendulum, you have a time period, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So what is happening? The periodicity in this pendulum is that periodically it is moving from this point to this point, right? So for example, let us say it is taking 1 second, then I can determine after 3 seconds. For example, from here to here, it takes 1 second. So I can determine after 3 seconds, it will be where? So here to here 1 second, here to here 1 second, and back here to here another second. That means at third second, it will be at this position. Now, the periodicity is, it means that in properties, if I say, then it is the when something is repeated after some regular interval. If something is repeated after some regular intervals, okay. Now here the position is repeating after regular intervals of time. In chemistry, when we learn about the periodic properties, periodicity in properties, in that the periodicity will be for properties. So properties will be repeated after a fixed interval of some elements, after some fixed elements. Okay. So please write the first statement. What is the meaning of periodicity? It means a repetition of some property after regular intervals. After regular intervals. Now in chemistry, how do we define the periodicity in the periodic classification of the periodicity in properties? We say that when the elements are arranged in the order of their increasing atomic number, their increasing atomic number. Now, when we increase the atomic number in the same period, that is the horizontal row. Okay, in same period, that is the horizontal row. There is a gradual change. In a particular property. Okay, when the elements, that is what happens when we arrange the atoms, arrange the elements in the periodic table. When we arrange them in the increasing order of atomic number, then some property, there is a gradual change, whether it will be increase or decrease, I will see that, but there is a gradual change in some property. So please let me know if you are done. Then we will start what properties that we have, what properties do we have to learn, okay? Let me know if you're done.
Done, sir.
Okay. So we'll learn a few properties. Those properties are first we will learn about shielding effect or screening effect. Okay. Shielding effect. A screening effect. After that, we will learn about the effective nuclear charge, Z effective. After that, we will learn about the atomic radius. And after that, we will learn about the ionization enthalpy. And after ionization enthalpy, we will learn about electron gain enthalpy. And at last, we will learn about electronegativity. So the first starting these two topics are not in NCERT, but these two topics, a slight idea of shielding effect and the effective nuclear charge is very important to understand the atomic radius, ionization enthalpy, electron gain enthalpy, and the electronegativity. Okay. Please let me know if you're done, then we will start with shielding effect. There's not much to write for shielding effect and Z effective. What we will do is just write, understand what is the concept of shielding effect and the Z effective nuclear charge.
Sir, it is Z effect or Z
effect. Don't worry, you just write it now. I will write the complete
Okay, sir.
name, right? Z effect.
Okay,
We show it as Z effective. Z is the nuclear, the atomic number, na Z, right?
Yes, sir.
It denotes the number of protons, correct? Atomic number is the number of protons.
Yes, sir.
So Z effective is related to the number of protons and how much positive charge is experienced by the valence electron. Let me know if you are done. For you, these
Sir, what is
properties
the
are
first one again? Chain welding?
Shielding effect.
Okay,
Shielding.
it's a shielding.
Shielding. Yeah, shielding. This is SH. Last one is electronegativity. Khalid has raised hand. Okay. What about
Done,
others?
sir.
Done. Okay. So please write the first topic, that is shielding effect or screening effect. Or shielding. Shielding effect or screening effect. Now, this is very simple concept. Okay, this is very simple concept. Imagine that it is an offline class. There are 100 students. Imagine that it is an offline class. There are 100 students, and they are sitting row after row. They are sitting row after row. Now, Hamza, you will tell me the amount of concentration and the attention that the first row students will be getting. Will it be the same for the last row student?
No, sir.
No, no. So that is what shielding is. That is what shielding is.
Like it
In chemistry,
depends if the students on the last bench make more noises, then their attention will be on them more.
if they make more noises, then only, na. But what about if it is stable, nothing is going on, then
Then the first row will get more attention.
more attention, right? So the same thing happens with the protons and the electrons. For example, you have the protons here. Then you have the first shell, second shell, third shell, and the fourth shell. So let's imagine that the fourth shell is the valence shell here. Fourth shell is the valence shell here. Now here you have first, second, third, and fourth. So if the electron will be far away from the nucleus, that means it will be experiencing this positive charge more or less, right? It will be experiencing this positive charge more or less. If I compare the first shell electrons and the fourth shell electrons, who will be experiencing the positive charge here? Let us say we have 28 protons here. Then the first shell electrons will be experiencing all the 28 protons, and there will be no one else to experience those particular protons. But if I reach here in the fourth shell, then obviously this fourth shell will not be experiencing the complete 28 positive charges as the first one is experiencing, because there is some electrons in these shell which are shielding the positive charge to this valence electron, right? There are. So can you understand this concept of screening and shielding? No? Yes, Hamza, Heba, Khalid, Salman. It just says that this positive charge that we have,
Yes, sir.
this first electron, it will be experiencing all the positive charge, but this fourth electron, sorry, the fourth shell electron, it will not be experiencing all the positive charge. It will be experiencing some less positive charge, some less force of attraction from the nucleus. Isn't it?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Now, this decrease, so this decrease, okay, so remember, write the definition. The decrease in force of attraction The decrease in force of attraction exerted by nucleus in valence, nucleus on valence electron, on valence electrons due to the presence of inertial electrons
Sir, you wrote shell twice.
Oh, sorry. Inertial electrons is called screening effect or shielding effect. Okay, Hiba is done. What about others? Hamza, Khalid, Salman,
Done, sir.
Yes, sir,
done.
done.
Done, sir.
So we have seen the effect of this shell. Okay, if something is as far as fourth shell, then obviously the fourth shell electrons, they will be experiencing some less positive charge, some less less nuclear charge than the third shell electrons. Now let us look at the effect of orbitals. Okay, effect of orbitals. Now I will ask you some question. You have, okay, I'm making two figures. This is A and this is B. Salman, you tell me, there's a word which is called diffused. What do you think, A or B, which is more diffused?
I think B.
B is more diffused. Okay, everyone agrees B is more diffused and A is more compact, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Now you understand what is diffused. Now if I compare the shells, we have the s orbital perfectly spherical, then we have the p orbitals which have dumbbell, then we have the double dumbbell, and then f is having, I mean, see, it has one lobe, it has two lobes, it has four lobes. F will be having 8 lobes, right? Double. This is p, this is d, and let us say more complex. This is f. Now what do you think is more diffused here, S, P, D, or F? Which is most diffused? Which will be most diffused? S is most compact, right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, no? S is most compact, then P, then D, and then F. Now imagine if something is more compact, that means this S subshell is surrounding the nucleus from all the sides, right? It is surrounding the nucleus from all the sides. That means the order of screening for subshells will be this. S will be screening or shielding the electrons most, then P, then D, and then F, right? Order of screening will be S will be shielding the most, after that P will be shielding, after that D, and after that F. Okay, so please write this, because S is nearest to the nucleus, and if it is nearest to the nucleus among the subshells, that means it will be shielding more. The effect of shielding for S is the most. Please write this down. Let me know if you're done.
Done, sir.
Okay, this is the order of screening for subshells. Now, if I write for shells, then the first shell will be screening the most, then second, then third, then fourth, and so on. Correct? Because first is most nearest. Now, if it is most nearest, that means it will be shielding the most. That means it will be not letting the nuclear charge. It will not be letting the nuclear charge to reach the valence electron. And after that, second will have a bit less effect than the third, then the fourth. Okay. So for subshell it is SPDF. Shell it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now write effective nuclear charge. Effective nuclear charge. What is effective nuclear charge? It is shown by Z. That is nuclear charge is Z and effective like this. Okay, Z effective. So what is Z effective? Just remember that Z effective is the actual atomic number minus sigma. The sigma is screening effect. Okay. You don't have to calculate these things. But this is how the Z effective is defined. The reduced nuclear charge, nuclear charge is called effective nuclear charge. Known as effective nuclear charge. Write this, then we will write the trends in the group and the periods. Move down.
Done,
Move
sir.
down. Done. Okay. Now, in a period, what happens in a period? Let us say this period is lithium. The second period, we have lithium. After lithium comes beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon. Okay, all these are second period, right? That means the electrons are getting filled in the second period. The electrons are getting filled in the second period. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is 10. Now, this will have 2 electrons and then 1. This will have 2, 2. This will have 2, 3. This will have 2, 4. This will have 2, 5. This will have 2, 6, 2, 7, and this will have 2, 8. Now, in this, what do you think? What is happening? We are increasing the proton numbers also, but we are not increasing the shell, right? All these electrons, these are getting filled in the second shell. All of them are getting filled in the second shell. So we are not increasing the distance, right? See, we are all filling in the second shell. See, the only shell which is there to shield is the first shell, right? The only shell which will be shielding is the first shell. Yes or no? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yes. The only
Sir, could
shell
you
which
repeat?
the only shell which is shielding these electrons. These are the valence electron, na? These are the valence electron, right?
Yes, sir.
You remember, na? Valence electron will be 1, then this will be having 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these electrons are shielded by only these 2 electrons, right? These 2 electrons. All of them are shielded by these 2 electrons. Now, if these are only shielded by 2 electrons, but you see that the number of first shell electrons are same, but we are increasing the proton numbers, right? Because as we go from left to right in the period, what happens? We increase the proton number. Now here we have 3 proton, here we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Correct? So what do you think? The effective nuclear charge will increase, the attraction between the valence electron and the proton will increase or decrease. What would happen? Now for that, you can imagine that there is a class in which there are only 2 students in the first row. Then there is 1 student. Then in the next class, there are 2 students, 3 students, 4 students, 5, 6, and 8. Then don't you think the attention will be shifting towards the second row students more and more as the number increases?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in left to right in the second period, what happens? As the proton numbers are increasing, but the number of electrons which are shielding, they are the same. There are only 2 electrons, but we are increasing the positive charge. Now, if we are increasing the positive charge, it can pull the electron. It can show its effect on the valence electron more. So what will happen? The magnitude of Z effective increases in a period from left to right. Okay, from left to right, what happens? The Z effective increases. That means now you have to imagine that nucleus is pulling the electrons more closer, more and more closer. Okay, it is pulling the electrons more and more closer. So please write this down. Let me know if you're done. Then we will look at the
Sir,
effect.
could you show the equation again? The first
Okay.
equation. Okay, thank
Z
you.
minus sigma. Okay, Z minus sigma.
Sir, done.
What will happen in a group? Let us see a group, for example, lithium. So this lithium is in which period? This is second period. This is third period. This is fourth period, fifth period, sixth period, and seventh period. Now, as we are going down the group, what is happening here? Down the group, the number of protons are increasing because lithium is how much? Lithium is the atomic number of lithium is 3, sodium is 11, potassium is 19, rubidium is 37. This is 55, and after 55, fast, someone please, last one please. After 55, add 32.
87.
Okay. Down the group, the number of protons are increasing. correct? Because see, if we have 3 protons, then we have 11 protons, but we have then 19, then 37, then 55, and 87. So down the group, we can see that number of protons are increasing, but the number of shells are also increasing, right? Because this is this has only 2 shells. So the valence electron is in the second shell. Here it is in the third shell. Here it is in the fourth shell. Here it is in the fifth shell, the sixth, and in the seventh. Okay. So as gradually we go down the group, what is happening? Number of protons are also increasing, which will increase the effective nuclear charge. But the number of shell is also increasing, which will increase the screening effect. Now both of these increase in nuclear charge and the increase in screening effect, they cancel each other out, and hence the Z effective is almost same. So both of them, increase in proton and increasing shell number. So increase in proton increases the Z, increase in shell number, it will increase in shell number will increase the sigma, that is screening effect. Hence in normal elements, okay, normal elements means not the D group, S block and P block. In normal elements, the Z effective is usually remains same. Let us write it like this. Usually remains constant. Because these two things are, because Z effective is equal to Z minus sigma. Now, if this is also increasing and this is also increasing, what would happen? Then Z effective will remain same. There is a proper formula for calculating the sigma, because Z is just the atomic number. If you can calculate the sigma, then you will get the Z effective. There is a thing which from where we can calculate the sigma, but you don't have to do that. You just have to have a qualitative idea on what is happening, such that you can explain anyone. If proton increases, the atomic number increases, the nuclear charge increases, but shell number is also increasing. That is why screening effect is increasing, and hence the Z effective is usually constant. Let me know if you're done.
Done, sir.
So Z effective we have learned. We have learned about this effect. Now comes the main topic, is atomic radius. Atomic radius. Okay. Now from here starts your NCERT. Now for atomic radius, you have to remember that there are two parts of atomic radius. There is definition of atomic radius, definition, and then you have to also learn some methods of measurements. Okay, measurement of atomic radius. There are two parts. You have definition and the measurement. So first we will look at the definition. Then we will look at why this definition is okay, but we cannot measure it like this. So there are some ways in which we can measure it, but the definition is something else that you have to remember always. Okay, so please write the definition of atomic radius. It is defined as, so first topic is definition. What is the definition of atomic radius? It is defined as the distance between the center of nucleus and outermost shell, where the electrons or electron is present. Okay, simple definition. If we have an atom, it is assumed that it is spherical. This is the nucleus. So distance from the nucleus to the outermost shell. Okay, but there are some problems with this. So the exact measurement of these type of atomic radius, it is not possible if we define it like this, but we cannot measure it like this, because to get an isolated one atom, then to measure it, it is very difficult. So right, next, the exact measurement of atomic radius is very difficult. It's very difficult due to the following reasons. The first reason is, see, the atom that we have, it does not have a defined boundary. Why? Because the outermost shell, it has electrons, right? Now the outermost shell is where the electrons are. Now those electrons are having wave-like nature. Those electrons are electron clouds. So the exact boundary, like this is the last electron that we have present. Now this is the atomic radius, this is the boundary. That is not possible. We have an electron cloud. So electron cloud is something mushy. So it is something fuzzy. That is why it is difficult to measure the atomic radius. The first reason is atom does not have well-defined boundary, right? Why? Because the probability of finding the electron is never zero. Because of finding electron is never zero, even at large distance. Even at large distance. Now, the second reason is that it is not possible to get an isolated atom. How can we get one atom, only one atom? It is not possible. Whenever we will get some bonded atom. It is not possible to get an isolated atom. Third reason is that the size of atom is very small. If something which has very small size, measuring the radius of that particular atom, which is very small, is very difficult practically. Okay. Speaking about practicality, as the size of atom is very small, the measurement is very difficult. Now, What is the solution? See, because we cannot get an isolated atom, it is not possible to get an isolated atom. That is why what we can do, we can estimate the size of an atom by knowing the distance between the atoms in the combined state. When we have atoms in the combined state, for example, we have H2. We have H2 gas. We have H2 gas. Now this is hydrogen, this is another hydrogen. So they will be bonded something like this. So if we can know the distance between these two, then we can halve this and we can say that we can assume, we can approximate that the hydrogen atom has the radius which is half the length of the H2 bond, half the length of the H2 bond, right? Similarly, we have metals. For metals, we have, let us say, iron. So there are iron like this, iron atoms. These are combined like this metallic bond. Now we can also have the distance between these bonds, right? We can also have the distance between these bonds. Right. So we will look at how do we calculate the atomic radius. We don't exactly calculate, we approximate, okay? We estimate. So please write it. We can only estimate the size of an atom by determining the distance between atoms in combined state. That means in molecular form. Okay, we can only estimate the size of an atom by determining the distance between atoms in combined state. Now, please write this. Let me know if you're done. After that, we will look into the measurements.
Sir, done.
What about others? Hamza, Hiba, Salman?
Done,
Done.
sir.
We have got the definition also. We have got the difficulty in measurements. Now we will look how to measure. Okay. Now, whenever we are measuring, so now next topic is measurement. Now, in measurement, we can have three different types of atoms. We can either have covalent atoms or covalent molecules. So we use covalent radii for them or covalent radius. We use metallic radius for metals. And we use van der Waals radius. Van der, then wall. Not wall like this, W-double-A-L. Van der Waals radius. Okay, so this covalent radius is used for covalent molecules, covalent homoatomic, this metallic radius is used for metals. The van der Waals radius is used for the noble gases. Okay, because noble gases so don't react. So how will we determine that? We will look. So first of all, write covalent radius. Write the definition for covalent radius with me. It is defined as half of the distance between two nuclei, plural of nucleus, of two like atoms bonded together by covalent bond. Write this, let me know if you're done. Then we will explain this by giving an example. It is defined as the half of the distance between two nuclei of the two like atoms bonded together by covalent bond. Now, the important point is that it should be covalent homoatomic molecules. For example, CH4 methane, it is also a covalent molecule, but it is covalent heteroatomic. Heteroatomic means we have different atoms in that molecule. So what can be homoatomic? H2, F2, Cl2. Okay. Now carbon as diamond, carbon as graphite. All these are examples of covalently bonded homoatomic molecules. Okay, Hiba is done. What about others? And Khalid, Salman, Hamza.
Yes, sir. Done.
Sir, done.
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay. So let us say you have this particular atom and it is bonded with an atom of same element like this. And we can say this is the distance between the two nuclei. Okay, now I have to get it straight and also somewhat equal distance. Yeah, that would do. Yep, that would do. So we have, okay, so this is the point A, let us say this is the point B, and this is a homodiatomic homonuclear diatomic molecule. Okay, homonuclear diatomic molecule. Let us say it is A2. Okay, the molecule is A2. So this atom is also A, this atom is also A. Okay. Now, what is the definition saying? It is defined as the half of the distance between the two nuclei of like atoms. Okay, that means I can say that the distance between AB is equal to the radius of A, right, plus the radius of A. There are two atoms of A. Now, let me wait a second. Let me erase this point AB. Let me write this AA. The distance between the center points of A and A is equal to the radius of A plus the radius of A. Okay. Now we can say that distance of AA is equal to 2 into radius of A, and that is why RA is equal to the DAA divided by 2. That's it. Covalently bond. We have a covalent bond, the bond length divided by 2. It also one more point. Covalent radius is used to estimate the atomic radius of nonmetals. Okay, please write this. Please let me know fast if you are done. Then we will move to metallic radius.
Done, sir.
What about others?
Done, sir.
Okay.
Sir, wait, the
Okay.
Okay. Done, sir.
Okay. Now what will happen if you have metallic radius? Second point is please write metallic radius. Okay, Salman. Okay. Now, can somebody define metallic radius? How can you define metallic radius? It is just like covalent radius only. It is first of all used for metals. Array, please, somebody please try now. At least try a bit. Okay.
It is
It will.
used to find radius of metals.
No, that is fine. But how it is defined? See, when we have covalent bond, that is the half of the covalent bond length, right? If we have metal, then that would be half of the metallic bond. That would be half of the metallic bond. So it is defined as, please write this. It is defined as half of internuclear distance between the metal cores in metallic crystal. Metallic crystal means that it should be in solid state. It should be in solid state. Now, for example, let us say distance between two copper atoms. Distance between two copper atoms in copper solid is 256 picometer. What will be the atomic radius of copper? Send the answers in chat now. Now, it is okay. Let me write one more statement. Otherwise, you will be getting confused here. You will be saying, sir, यहाँ तो sir metallic radius है, तो metallic radius ना होगा, तो atomic radius कैसे लिख दिया आपने? Please write one more point. Metallic radius is used to estimate the atomic radius of metals. Yes. Somebody please tell me what will be the answer. The distance between two copper atoms in copper solid is 256 picometer. What will be the atomic radius of copper? Yes, Hamza, very good. What about others? Hiba, Salman. Fast. Hiba? Okay, what is the distance between the two copper atoms, Hiba? Okay, Hiba's answer. Yes, correct. This is easy, okay? 256 picometer is the distance between two copper atoms. Just should half it. This will be 128 picometers. That's it. I guess you are done. Khalid, Hamza, Hiba, everyone.
Yes, sir. Done.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it's okay. Salman, are you back? Salman is not here.
Yes, sir, I'm back.
Okay, you are back. Okay. Please now write.
Sir, I have a question. Why did we do
Yeah.
2 by 2? What's the form?
Because it is the distance between two copper atoms, na? So one copper atom is here. One copper atom is here. Distance between these two is 128. Sorry, 256. So we have to take the half of it to estimate the radius of one copper atom. We need the radius of one copper atom. So this will be half of that, na? Got it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have to take the half of. Now write the van der Waals radius. Okay. It is used to estimate. It is used to estimate the atomic radius of noble gases. It is used to estimate the atomic radius of noble gases. Now, how do we estimate it? It is defined as the half of distance between the nuclei of two non-bonded neighboring atoms. Okay, neighboring atoms. Also, two non-bonded neighboring atoms. Okay, it is defined as the distance between the nuclei of two non-bonded neighboring atoms of noble gases. Also, right? You can write this of noble gases. Okay, so write one more point. Since noble gases, this van der Waals force of attraction will only be there. Okay, so helium and helium. So hydrogen and hydrogen can be bonded like this. Hydrogen and hydrogen. This is H2. But helium you will find just as helium, right? So there will be one helium molecule here, another helium molecule here, the another molecule here, another molecule here. Okay, so obviously the distance between these two will be very far. If I compare the radius of hydrogen and the radius of helium, which will be higher, hydrogen or helium? Hydrogen has bonded like this, and we are taking the half here like this, and these are non-bonded. These are far apart, and then we are taking half like this. This is for helium and this is for hydrogen. So which will be higher? Which will be greater? Tell me.
Sir, helium.
No.
Helium.
Helium will be, yeah, helium will be very high, na? Helium will be very high. That is why if we look at the order of radius, atomic radius, then covalent radius is the smallest. Okay, covalent radius is the smallest, followed by metallic radius, and both of these are bonded. And metallic, these, I mean, it is van der Waals radius is much higher. Van der Waals radius. Okay, please write this. Then we will look at the trend. What happens in a group? What happens in a period? That's it. So all of these are atomic radius only. Covalent radius is also atomic radius. Metallic radius is also atomic radius. Van der Waals radius is also atomic radius. These are different ways in which we estimate or approximate the atomic radiuses. Whatever we are getting after the covalent radius, metallic radius, and van der Waals radius are the atomic radiuses. Please write this.
Done, sir.
Let me know if you're done. Done. Okay. Now, let us look at what is happening in the period and the group. Along the period, okay, I think you must have done this in 10th standard, no? For atomic radius? No, yes? The size increases or decreases along the period?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We did.
Anna, you remember this along the period? What is happening along the period? Along the period, Z effective is increasing or decreasing? You just say that. Z effective is increasing or decreasing? Okay, I need someone to answer me. You can look at your notes. You don't have to tell me from memory. Hamza, Z effective is increasing or decreasing along the period left to right?
Sir, increasing.
Tell me. Increasing. Okay. Now tell me one more question, follow-up question. If Z effective is increasing, then the outermost electron is feeling more attraction or less attraction? The outermost electron is feeling more attraction or
Sir,
less
less
attraction?
attraction.
If Z effective is increasing.
Yes, sir.
If Z, okay, we are not increasing the shielding. We are increasing the Z effective. The nuclear charge. You're confused between the two? Yes, Hamza?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
do we have to tell like it increases or decreases?
Yeah, you have to tell me whether Z effective increases. No, you can say in voice also. Increases or decreases.
So it will increase, right? From
It
left
will
to right.
Z
increase.
effective will increase. Yeah, Z effective will increase. That is correct. If Z effect is increasing, then the attraction between the proton, the nucleus, and electron, it is increasing or decreasing?
So it will increase.
Attraction will also increase, na?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So initially you said decrease. I was worried now. Now,
No,
if attraction,
I was confused with the question, sir.
you were, okay. You must be thinking about screening effect. Okay. I was asking about the attraction between first proton and electron. Now, if the attraction between protons and electrons are increasing, then what do you think? The atom will shrink, na? Atom will get closer, because if the attraction is increasing, if I have positive here and the negative here first, then if the attraction is more, the electrons are here, then the atomic size will shrink, correct?
Yes, sir.
No, so along the period, what is happening? Along the period, from left, along the period left to right, the atomic radius is increasing. Oh, sorry, decreasing. As the Z effective is also increasing. That means atomic radius is inversely proportional to Z effective. Atomic radius is inversely proportional to Z effective. Now, down the group, what will happen? Down the group, from top to bottom, the atomic radius will increase or decrease? Tell me what is happening from top to bottom? The number of shell is increasing, na? Second period means second shell. Third period means third shell, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So down the period, what is happening? The atomic radius will increase as the shell number is also increasing. Is also increasing. That means atomic radius is directly proportional to shell number. Okay, how many shells are present? If shell number increases, atomic radius also increases. Most of the time, whenever we will be talking about the periods, we will be talking about the Z effective. Okay, Z effective is dominant in the periods, and shell number is the dominant factor in the group. Shell number is the dominant factor in the group. Z effective is the dominant factor in the period. Okay, so we will learn about the next trends: ionization enthalpy, electron gain enthalpy. Then we have electronegativity, right? Yeah, that's it. Three more, and after that, term one, you have MCQs now, all of you.
Yes, sir. MCQs.
Okay, fine. Then next class will be, we will be completing this chapter. We will look at some MCQs. Then the fourth chapter, chemical bonding. After fourth chapter, we will start organic chemistry after fourth chapter. Okay, will that be fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Chemical bonding is a big chapter. Okay, chemical bonding is a big chapter. It will take a while. We are having 4-hour lectures now, so I think it will take around. It may take around 1 month. This is our third class now of periodic properties.
I think yes.
Yeah, it is the third class. Now, I estimated that I would complete in around 8 hours. So that is going to take 8 hours. I've estimated chemical bonding, it will be taking around 16 hours. So let us see how well does chemical bonding go. Let me know if you're done.
Done, sir.
Yes, sir. Done.